Hi, I'm Isabel. I'm the founder and firebrand of the Uprising Spark.
Hi, I'm Lenora. I'm the creator of The Bitchy Bookkeeper.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm the author of The Age of the Child, and today we are here with Natalie Fikes. Am I saying that correctly? Yes, I just want to be, even if you've heard it a million times, it's just good to ask. Natalie Fikes is a motivational speaker whose videos are both on YouTube and on her Facebook page. There are also frequent live videos. I saw one that you did late last night, Natalie, that I think people are probably still responding to. She is the author of Empowered to Prosper, Discover How to Become the Woman You Were Created to Be. And she volunteers once a week at the City of Refuge in Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, where she teaches homeless women and those rescued from sex trafficking that homelessness does not mean hopelessness. With motivational speaker and the title of your book that's obviously meant to help people, and the fact that you volunteer your time to help victims of sex trafficking, I guess, rebuild their lives, and you're also part of other institutions that are helping youth find their purpose and their direction. With all of that in your biography, it seems really unlikely that you would have you would have negative comments going well into today. The last one I saw was about 5 minutes ago because of a post that you put on Facebook on October 31st. And I'm just going to read that really quick so that anybody who hasn't seen it, who's listening or watching, will know what it says. You wrote, in the context of this post, do you consider it marital rape if your husband asks for sex, you say no, and he continues to, without force, kiss and touch on you to the point that he enters you? And when you said in the context of this post, you shared a picture of a post somebody else had made. And that post says, let me ask you this. If your husband asks you for sex and you say no, not tonight, and he says please, and you say no, and he starts rubbing on you and you say stop, but he continues, no force, but trying to warm you up, but you say no, and he continues until he's inside of you, understood is they're asking, would you say that your husband raped you? I wasn't able to read every single comment, so I don't know if you actually answered that question in there. What I saw was that you were asking and people got mad that you didn't supply an answer, but that's what all this negativity is coming from. And one of the people in your live video you address must have said something like, are you even certified to offer this advice? And you're divorced, so how can you possibly talk about relationships and marriage and relationship happiness? And to just get all of that out of the way, because I want it to be the kind of conversation people will listen to without coming into it with any kind of automatic, immediate bias. And I want them to hear what you have to say, and I want them to listen and not be blocked by that. Can we just get that stuff out of the way and answer, okay, yes, certified, from where? Yes, qualified to talk about marriage, even though I'm divorced, because why? And then we'll just go forward.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come on here and speak with you ladies. I appreciate that. I think the first place, if it's okay for us to start, is to just clear up the question that is geared towards me, right? Because all I did was ask a question. So the question is, Natalie, do you believe that the post that you made is in fact rape? And the answer to that question is yes. No does mean no. And you do need consent in order to enter someone, regardless of whether you're married to them or not. So that should clear that up. The other thing is that I am a certified speaker, trainer, and coach, and I have been for the past 4 years. And what was the other question?
People will say, well, if you're divorced, how can you possibly be an authority on marriage? I've been married 3 times, so I totally know where you're coming from. And I
yeah. Yeah, so that actually is the most fascinating part, right? It's because I always say I got divorced, so no one else past two, right? So most of the times you get with marriage coaches who are married in the bliss of marriage and all that other stuff. And so I'm on the other side of it saying, I left, I didn't have the tools. Here's what I learned. Here's why you should stay and work it out, because I have that luxury. So I think it's an advantage, and my clients do too. So yeah, I'm the divorce marriage coach. And we have a healthy, amazing relationship. It wasn't a break up. It was just a decision. Yeah, so.
I just want to ask you one quick thing on it, like a reading. I know how brutal those comments like that can be when they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. You can only try to explain yourself so many times. And then you try to explain yourself, they keep coming. And on your website, you mentioned that you grew up in a house where there was a certain amount of physical and verbal abuse. And I just want to tell you, I mean, I didn't have that experience, but I'm trying to imagine what it would be like to have that experience in your background and then be receiving messages like this, and then try to take all of that and deal with it in a way that is as compassionate and understanding and professional as possible. What's that been like?
It has been a fascinating experience, to say the least, because the post that you shared was not where the conversation began.
Okay.
Right? The conversation began with the post that said, "Dear wives, if you're not having sex with your husband, he's too backed up to hear you. His penis and his ears run on the same Wi-Fi. If you want to be heard, you know what to do," right? And in subtext, I put, "Men need sex." And I was speaking in regards to husbands, because I was speaking to wives. And if he doesn't get it from you, then where is he supposed to get it from? So that was where I entered the conversation. So what happened was people started responding and saying, "My body is mine. I can do what I want." And then people were sharing it and they were adding their own subtext. And they're saying, "You can't touch me. If you do, then it's rape." Then the whole dynamic of the conversation changed. And now we're talking about spousal rape. Now, I am not a certified therapist. I have never been raped. I've never been raped by my spouse. I don't even have a concept of what that looks like. I know it happens, but I definitely did not know that it happened that much. So now, because my intention was to start provoking conversations that people need to have, right? For the purpose of healthy marriages. So when the conversation started shifting, I shifted it because I was having dialogue with some of the people, and that's what was coming up. Then when the attacks started coming on me and I start seeing that these people are triggered, I was like, they don't realize that I come from verbal abuse, physical abuse, right? Not the same trauma, but trauma nonetheless. And I could be triggered by what they're saying to me because of the verbal abuse. And it was negative. And for me, I really felt like, Natalie, you are really, really promoted in this area because you were not triggered. And I even said to someone that you're not fit to lead anyone, because how can the triggered lead the triggered? I have not been in this situation. So I am free from any biases about it. I'm just here to give solutions about it. It's not hitting anything. And so when they were coming and saying negative things to me by the thousands, and I was literally like, first of all, that's not what I said. You have the right I asked the question, and you have the right to misunderstand me. You have the right to disagree with me. You have the right to cuss me out. You have the right to do whatever it is that you want. I also have the right to be unfazed by it. I also have the right to stand on what it is that I said with the intentions in which I said it. And I really felt like when you decide to be a voice, and I'm not the voice for sexual trauma or spousal rape or any of that, just a voice for healthy marriages and what it takes, that you have to be willing to take what comes with it. So I actually felt very validated that I was able to have compassion for people who had a total disregard for me as a human being.
There is a lot of, we've seen that there is a lot of controversy around that topic in your website. And then, I mean, we just wanted to just touch it as a subject, just to, try and see your point of view from it, to hear what you had to say about it. But you just mentioned something, and I think this is also important. We wanted to ask you as well. So you counsel, is it couples or is it just women, or in terms of relationships?
I'm a coach, and that's very different, right? Counseling is more like the psychology and the working through it. I'm like, here's where you are. This is where you want to go. Here's what we have to do to get there. So it's totally different. I coach individuals, and I coach, I do business coaching. I do speaker coaching. I do relationship coaching. And so, yeah, it's couples, it's individual.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There is a difference. There's a big difference between being a counselor and
huge difference.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. So what I meant is it that you coach in terms of relationship coaching? Is it couples or individuals? And you just answer it's both, basically. So what is your point of view in terms of what is it that you tell the women that come to you and as a relationship coach, that they should do, based on your experience, not only as a coach, but in your experience as a married woman? What is it that you advise them to do, or what is it that you find that is lacking in most relationships?
So with me, every couple is different, and they also come to me for different reasons. And so it's really catered to that couple. Ultimately, you want to get to the truth. So I call it the center of truth. So we start off with, do we want the marriage? Because we have to be working towards the same things. And some people will say yes in the beginning, but then when it comes time to, here's what it will take based upon what the spouse is saying, the other spouse is saying, and they're saying, I'm not willing to do that. So then the question becomes, do you really want the marriage? And if you do, then why aren't you willing to do what it's going to take? And it's because the ask is too much. It could be, well, I need you to have sex with me at least 3 times a week because I'm used to getting it. We used to do it all the time before the baby came. We've been doing it before we got married, and I need it. And there was infidelity. There was, all of this going on. And she's like, I can't. I'm not. So it's like, here's the deal. You want something that she is saying, I cannot do that. So what do? That's not my decision to make. But I have to bring them to the center of their truth so that they can make that decision. That's not my decision to make. So the only thing I am there to do, like provoking conversation, is to get us to talk about what we really need to talk about, because it's ultimately the couple's decision.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. But since you mentioned, what you had posted online about women, the way for women to take care of their man in a way in a relationship is by giving them sex. Did I understand correctly?
So the post was posted from a male perspective, and that's really the biggest thing, because if you hear the sarcasm behind it, the Wi-Fi and, if you just want, do you know what to do? That type of thing. It's because I'm around a bunch of men and husbands, and they're saying, if you want me to listen to you, then give me some, right? And they're like, I'm going to spend, a husband actually said that. He's like, you're going to spend an hour and 15 minutes talking about the job, the traffic, the kids, your mom, all of this stuff. And I call it 3 strokes and a towel, right? It'll take 3 strokes in a towel, 3 to 5 minutes, and it's going to be over. So won't you give me some so I can sit there and listen to you for an hour and 15, and I'll paint the roof. I'll give you the American Express. I'll do whatever it is you want to do. And so
is that a marriage worth saving? Because that does not sound like love. That doesn't sound like love.
And so that was the whole premise, right? Is because I go into beautiful homes, big, beautiful homes with beautiful children, and the wife is sleeping in one bedroom, the husband is sleeping in another bedroom. That particular couple hadn't had sex for a year. That was the first time I had ever had 1 year. 1 year. And so he wants it, she doesn't. And they're going further and further apart. And I was like, he was like, well, if you want me to listen, then why don't you just give me some? And it's like, yes, that's simple, isn't it? Because it's not, right? That's why the context of the message is because there's a lot of men out there that's like, just give me some. And everything is great. It's like, there's a reason why we don't want to give you some. But I'm saying to the women, right? Hey, it's on the same Wi-Fi, right? They need sex. Where are they supposed to get it from? Start expressing yourself so that they can see it, and they will have a different perspective of what's really going on, because a lot of wives are not communicating with their husbands. So you get to now express yourself as a wife, not married to this man, but he's getting feedback he didn't know. When women started saying stuff like, it happens before the bedroom, you got to talk to me, I'm tired, different stuff like that. Some men are not getting that. They're like, don't touch me, no. And I'm saying at the end of the day, it's all unhealthy. And we need to get to a place where our relationships are not transactional. We actually like the people that we're with. What is all of this fussing and fighting? I don't have those type of relationships. So can we get there? Because it's beautiful when the two walk together in partnership and are having a good time.
Okay, I have a question. How much do you think that society expectations plays a role in all of this? Because, for example, I am not married. I am child-free. I do not know if I will be married. It's not on my list. And, of course, having children is not something I'm going to do. So when I hear this, I'm just hearing it from, I guess you could say, an outsider perspective, going, all right, this is interesting. I have no experience in this area at all. And I keep hearing society expectations, marriage, children. And of course, we all know that both are not rosy all of the time. So how much do you think these expectations play a part in what you're bringing up here?
100%. 100%. And societal expectations is part the reason why relationships are in chaos. Because you're looking at someone else's relationship or the rules, what they say is supposed to be, when really you should be looking at your partner and saying, how are we going to do life together? We get to decide. If the man wants to stay home and be with the kids and the wife wants to go and climb the corporate ladder, who is anyone to say that something is wrong with that? Who is anyone to say that this is the way it's supposed to be? When I ride in the car, I get like a little bit of motion sickness. So when someone looks in the car and they see me driving and my husband on the passenger side, they're looking like, why isn't he driving? I like to mow the lawn, but I don't like to wash the dishes or fold laundry, but he does. So we just get it done. We get it done. So, but societal, I got to be matching with my husband and we got to have photo shoots every third Thursday and we got to do this and, all this other stuff. I'm like, no, that's not what works. And that was part of the issue with my ex-husband is I was saying, nope, we don't, let's get let's start small. Let's live on one salary. Let's this, that. And he's like, surprise, we got a minivan. And I'm like, what? So how can the two walk unless they agree? So society was saying, this is rape, this is rape, this is rape. And I was like, I asked a question. But because somebody who has credentials, right? Credentials say, this is what you, Natalie, you need to have this. I can't be a therapist. I cannot be a therapist because I can't sit there. Well, how does that make you feel? And I am, as you can see, I'm not built for that at all. I'm like, here's the problem. What do you want? Let's map out how to get it. That's how I am. But I would have lost my license if I said, anything outside of what the guidelines are. I'm out the box. I don't even know where the box is because I don't live in one. So society doesn't tell me what to do, how to feel. You said this. I did not say that. This is what we want from you. And I'm like, I'm not the voice for trauma victims. I'm the voice for people who want to take responsibility for their lives, regardless of what the circumstances are. That's it.
You have a family, right? You have kids.
I do.
I'm sorry. I just used the word. It's so weird because as Childfree people, we're always, we're always saying, family as in how it has been represented and defined by society is two parents and kids, one or more kids. We're trying to change that. And it's so embedded in my head that I just use the word family. You have children. You're a mother.
I am a mother.
How many children? Two.
Yes.
2 boys. And we wanted to ask you because the 3 of us were child-free, as you know. We exchanged emails with you before you came on. And we just wanted to ask you, when you decided to have children, was there a particular reason or was it out of desire?
Society. Society. So and as a woman with 2 children that I love from the bottom of my heart because I'm a very responsible person, I would either have had none or one.
Period. So was it societal pressure? Did you have the second in order to give the first one a sibling? Or is it because so many people even have a problem with one child? When are you going to have a sibling? What's your poor kid going to do without a sibling?
So so marriage and children were societal, right? So I bought a house when I was 19. I was in corporate America from high school. I had money, I had a car, I had everything going for me. And then I still had this void inside of me. And I was like, oh, there was this ladder, checklist thing. Oh, the marriage, the baby carriage. Yes, that's what it is. So if I do these things, check, ding, here comes the confetti, the void goes away, bam. So I look up and this guy who told me the day he was going to marry me, the day he met me, he was going to marry me. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Friend zoned him. We were cool. I was like, duh, him, great guy, right? Come on. So I did not marry him because I was in love. I didn't marry him for anything other than my checklist, honestly. But he was a good guy, and he deserved a good wife, I didn't know I was a girlfriend, but that's why I'm divorced. But and then here comes the baby, which I wanted the baby more than I wanted the husband, honestly. But I didn't want to have the baby out of wedlock, which is societal. And in my family, it's a bunch of baby mamas, right? So I wanted to break that. Everything was outside of me. Everything was outside of me. And then here comes the baby. And I'm like, where's the confetti? Why is the void still there? Actually, the void is bigger. What's happening? I look up and I'm like, oh my God, I got this career. I got this husband that keeps coming home every night. I have this child that's kicking me on the inside and I want to sleep. Why don't I feel like the woman in the commercial where she's like, oh my God, why don't I feel like that? I'm like, stop kicking me. and I'm just like, I'm a stepmother. He has a baby mom. I was like, got this big old house. This is horrible, So when I thought about it, I was like, I'm going to have to let you go, buddy, because it's all too much. With you goes the stepkids, the baby mama, all of that stuff. We can still get to be friends. And I have this child. baby number 2 comes because I'm still trying to fill that void. And a really nice guy popped on the scene and, oops.
Did it fill the void?
No. No. The void got filled when I sat there and said, what caused the void? That's how I got rid of the void. And start working on my crap that was handed down to me, all these years. So
what have you found that is the hardest thing to be a mother then?
For me personally is I was very much in my career and I was very much happy with what I was doing. There's this responsibility that I have grown to love because it's made me really who I am. I've learned so much from these guys. But the responsibility that comes with it and just the inconvenience of it all, it's like, Mom, can we talk? I'm like, I kind of want to be quiet right now. I kind of don't want to talk. I kind of don't want to look at your scribble, and I kind of don't, but you literally sit there and you're like, wow. And I've never been the wow, that's awesome. I'm like, wow, what is that? Like what is, I believe in truth, but I'm like, what is that? Oh, do you like it, Mom? I'm like, do you like it? They're like, yeah. I'm like, that's all that matters, baby. So it's just the constant, like, I don't want you to leave that there, and I don't want to have to tell you to pick it up either. But I got to do something. But after you've been doing it, and I have amazing kids. Amazing because I trained them to be communicators. Don't sit there. That's why I can't stand whining and complaining. I'm like, you used to cry because you didn't have words. Now you have words. Give it a shot. What does those emotions say? And so training them to be kids I actually like. I could not be around some of these kids these people are raising. I understand why you are messed up. Because your kids are a hot mess. You got people wanting to be child-free for real because that one is crazy. But I actually not love, but like my kids. So.
That's cool. I want to get back to the void.
Hold on. That can easily be taken out of context by someone. She likes her kids. She doesn't love her kids. What you're saying, if I understand you, is no, seriously. I don't want to invite anybody who's going to turn that into this whole other thing. So what I hear you saying is I totally love my kids, but I also like them as people.
My like trumps my love. How about that? Go run with that and do, like, I don't just do, it's not just they're my kids and I love them. If they weren't my kids, I would want to be around them.
Yeah.
They're amazing human beings. I love my kids. I fed them today and everything. Like,
oh, nice.
Yay. Okay. All right. I want to get back to the void for a little bit. Speaking specifically to somebody who may be watching who is not public about their child-free status. They're not interested in maybe getting a coach. They are just kind of wanting to deal with their crap by themselves in their bedroom. So let's say just to themselves, they've acknowledged that they have a void. And they're looking at the society pressure of, yes, children are going to fill that void because that's what we're fed. So what would you say to that person who is struggling silently, who does not feel comfortable reaching out to anyone for help? What would you say to them, not to dissuade them from having kids or to have children, not to put one or the other, but what would you say to them to encourage them to help deal with the void, to at least acknowledge it or to take the first step?
Great question. So I believe that the void and the wanting to have children should absolutely be separate. because you shouldn't want to be in a relationship or have kids or do anything because you have a void. Because you have a void is more the reason why you should not do anything, right? Because in order to be successful at anything, you really have to know who you are, what you want, and what it's going to take for you to get there. And if you really hone in on that, it's like your GPS. I call it your greater purpose system. In a GPS, it asks for your destination first, right? So you need to figure out 10, 20, 30 years from now, what does your life look like? I always say, imagine you're sitting on a beach, you have all the money in the world, you've traveled the world 7 times, you're really just bored at this point. And you're like, I'm going to get up and do this every day. What is that thing, right? You're not paid for it, you don't need the money. What is that thing you would do every day? And would that thing would it allow you to, do you have a family that you have to, a spouse you have to consult with, or your children, having grandchildren? Because you have to think about that too, because your kids come with grandchildren and then they expect you to watch them, like that's your kid, And so you have to sit with your life and say at the end of it, this is what I wanted to experience. And when you're very clear on where you want to go, and then you say, well, where am I now? Because if you don't want any kids and you got 2, that's a problem. You should do that before you have children. But if you're saying, okay, I have 2 children now and I still want to do X, Y, Z, what does that look like? Does that mean you have a spouse because you've been divorced, or do you want to remarry after a divorce? Or you just going to say, okay, been there, done that? Like, you get to decide, but sit with your life and be very clear on what it is that you want, because it's very easy to say no, because I'm going to Canada. I'm not going to Florida. It's very easy for me to say, no, you can't get in the car because we're not going the same place. It's very easy to decide what events you want to attend, how you spend your money, because you're working towards something. And so who you are, what do you want, and what is it going to take for you to get there? And when you're sitting back chilling because you've accomplished everything, were you content? Were you happy? What do you want to do now that you've accomplished everything? But you got to start with the end in mind. And you can do that in the privacy of your own home, all by yourself.
I have a quick question. You said that with kids come grandkids, and you have to think about, do you want that? And then you started out saying that you absolutely love your kids, but if you could go back in time and do things different, you might have had no kids or just one. So when your boys, they're both boys, right?
Both.
When they say something like, I'm never having kids, or, you'll a lot of parents say, oh, you're going to have kids someday, or they'll just automatically say, when you have kids, you'll understand this, or when you have kids, blah, blah, blah. How do you talk to your boys about their future as parents or not parents?
So that is an amazing question, because I've realized just how much I plant, as a parent, you plant seeds in your kid's mind and you don't even realize it, right? But the way our dialogue is set up with the children that I love very much is that what do you want? I ask them all the time, what do you want? Because they should have a say in what it is that they want. And so based upon what they want is how I respond to them.
They're very lucky, because I did not have that. Growing up religious, did not have that. Yeah. So that's really awesome, actually.
Yeah. The only thing I'm very adamant about is sex, right? And so my 13-year-old, he had the dream and all the things are happening. But we've actually started talking about it before. And I told him what was going to happen before. And, I was like, this is what I heard. I've never been through it. We could call your dad, but let me know when it happens so I know how to. And he's like, Mom, it happened. And And so we talk about what's important to him in a relationship, right? And I've expressed to him that it's going to be very important to him for him to master connecting with females, just like he connects with his mother, without needing to touch. So we have to make sure that your communication is very much on point. We have to make sure that you have mastered being a friend, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm using this to be able to advance for anything else or whatever. I want you to consider connection that's not physical before you ever consider being physical. And you want ownership. You don't want to rent. So are you the type of person that's going to be with one person for the rest of your life? Or are you going to withstand from having sex? That's what I'm very clear about. Because you mess around and have sex with somebody and their family is crazy, you're stuck with that family.
Yeah, the weird bartering is, it's weird how pervasive it is. I was married to someone once who I think had heard too much of that stuff that's even on today's, on morning shows, probably even today. Men, if you want some nookie at night, then you know what you have to do. You want to contribute around the house, do some dishes. You want to let her know that, that you're there to help. And that's just such a surface level explanation of what that whole thing means. That I was married to someone who would do something like dishes and then expect some sort of reward. What? Like, that's not what that's about. That's not how this works. What it's saying is recognize that you are a contributing member of this household who also does dishes because you live here, and that we are.
And you ate off the plate.
Yeah. Huh?
You ate off that plate too. So we're just, all here just living together.
Yeah. Really hard for some people to understand. I think it seems harder in the more traditional or stereotypical situations, or with couples who get together because the girl read the book, The Rules, and so it's all part of some kind of game. And I guess there's a certain kind of, maybe they're just different relationships. Maybe there are people who get together and stay together because they love and value the friendship, and they understand that they're both unique individuals with unique feelings. It's not just a man and a woman who are Mars and Venus. And then you have people who are happy to be Mars and Venus and happy to pretend it's all just a big mystery and they'll understand each other.
Yeah, that's why I'm very mindful that as a coach, I'm not projecting my philosophies or how I feel about anything. I go into marriages that have open marriages, right? Yeah, that goes totally against the institution of marriage, but you didn't call me in to interject my feelings about it. I just want to know, why am I here? What do you want out of this? And let's get a plan to get you where you want to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to tell you have sex with your husband. You don't want to have sex with your husband. What I'm saying is he's saying this is an issue. So how do we create some common ground? And if we don't create common ground, then don't call me back because I can't help you. Literally, I fire clients all the time. I'm like, what are you calling me for? You haven't done what you said. You wanted the marriage, but you're still not doing what he's saying or she's saying that she needs. So, people are reading books, too many books. They're watching too many things and following the crowd on everything. And I'm like, why don't you just look over at your boo and be like, so what do you want to do? And you guys figure it out together. It's that simple. Like the person, like your children, like your spouse, like your job, like things, be happy. It's like such a foreign concept. And I'm like, I'm so happy in every relationship I am. I have very clear on boundaries. And you cannot tell me who I am because I sat down and I figured it out. You can't tell me what to do. And just because you want to go to Florida and I'm going to Canada, I love you, but I'll see you or I won't, because I'm going to Canada. Like, there's nothing that you could do to sway me from who I am, what I want, where I want to go, period.
Well, that's a fantastic way to end this. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being so open with all of your explanations about everything, and thank you for loving your children. That is it for this episode of Childfree Girls. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Hope that some things got cleared up. If things didn't get cleared up, or if you have any questions, you can email us at childfreegirls@gmail.com. We are online at Childfree Girls on, we have so many, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and TikTok. But we are mostly active on Instagram and Facebook, most likely, but we always check email probably more than once a day. So if you have any questions, if you have something you want to say, if there's something you wish we would talk about, anything at all, get in touch. And that is all. Bye.
Thank you, Natalie, for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. This was a great conversation.